There was a time in our society, in my culture, in the Irish culture, if you can't get up for work because of drinking the night before, you got a problem. And that happened to me one time where I was unable to get to work. And I was married at the time. I just got married in '66, and a very short time after that, I couldn't get up to go to work. And I went to AA for a short period of time. But back then, most of the people were old. No young people were at the meeting. So who wanted to stick around with these old fogies? That the good drink would kill them. So I exited it very quickly because I wanted to drink again. And so I went out there from that time for about another 4 years, and experienced a lot of bad things.
Like what?
I was married in 1966. In fact, in order for me to get married, I was drunk asking the girl to marry me because I was afraid that she might say no. So I got myself drunk and popped the question, and she said yes. But she did that to get rid of me. And unfortunately, she said yes at that time. So when I was sober, I did ask her, and she said yes, and we got married in 1966. And what happened there was she was working, I was working, and we could afford. And we didn't have the first child until 1970. It was born on March 17th. Colleen was March 16th, 1970, and she was a beautiful little girl, and we named her Colleen, and everything went well. But at the same time, my wife stopped working. Now the responsibilities were coming up, and I really couldn't handle them very well, and I drank. Every payday I drank, and it became a little serious as far as home financially and stuff like that. So my wife had to really do a thing for the next 2 years, I guess it was. We managed to do things up until about July of '71. We were on vacation up in Lake George, and it turns out that the baby was sick, and ultimately got diagnosed as terminal cancer.
The baby?
Yeah. And October 21st, she died. And I had been to AA, as I said earlier. And it turns out that the situation was that I picked up a drink in December. And the next 8 months, 6 months, I drank around the clock. And it was bad. And I just wanted to die. In order for me to drink, I had to have Alka-Seltzer to remove the pain, to get the alcohol down in my system, to get numb to the point there where it's not going to hurt. And I just kept drinking. And what occurred then is that a lot of things happened. And you want to talk about cover-ups. Everybody covered up me for the next 6 months. They hid me. I just wanted to die. And I couldn't kill myself because of the situation. But I wanted to die, just hoping that my ulcers would just explode and just die. But that didn't happen. And what happened was that in July of '72, excuse me, I was fired, and they brought me back because of the job program that they put together. And what happened was that I stopped drinking that night. They fired me, and the union got me back to work after a suspension. So they removed the termination. They had me on suspension for the time. I knew what I was going to go through when I stopped drinking, especially the amount of time I had drank. Because I see my dad go through DTs when I was about 8, 9 years of age. And so I knew what I was going to go through, and I went through the same thing. My wife helped me through that situation. I was hallucinating, and I thought she was a snake. I grabbed her by the throat, but she managed to get away. Thank God. Or else I'd be one of those people up in jails that had done things that under the influence that they don't remember. So anyway, at that time, I wound up going down to medical, and they told me I had to go to AA. And what happened was that it took me a month to go to medical. So I stopped drinking in July, and I wound up going to AA in August. And so I walked in there.
This is '72.
In '72. And what happened, I was going in there with the intention of going out and get drunk, because I tried religion, I tried trying to stop myself, and I tried everything, but I couldn't do it. I knew I was going to go back drinking, and I knew AA couldn't do it because the fact is that we tried that once before, and it didn't stop. So I walked into AA that night in Radford Street, and I heard the laughter, and I wanted part of that, and I really wanted part of that. I blamed everybody for my drinking. I caused it. My father, God, everything else like that. And I hated everybody. And so when I walked in there, I wound up wanting part of that laughter. And I walked in there with a friend of mine, or not a friend, I met a friend there that we started going to meetings together. He was as angry as I was, except he was angry at his wife for sending him to AA. And so we hung around together and we piggybacked each other going to meetings. And I've been sober ever since. And things have been looking up as far as it goes.